My name is Emily Carter, I'm 26 years old, and I live in a small suburb just outside of Portland, Oregon. I work as a paralegal at a mid-sized law firm downtown, and up until the night I'm about to tell you about, I believed I had my life under control. Not perfect, far from it, but stable. I had a boyfriend I adored, parents who were strict but supportive in their own way, and a younger brother I tried to protect, even when he pushed me away. But that night, everything cracked. Before I dive into the story, I want to ask you something personal. If you've ever had a moment where your world shifted in an instant, where one message, one glance, one decision changed your entire path, then this story is for you. I share real stories, the ones we're afraid to tell, the ones that hurt but also heal. If you subscribe to this channel, I promise you won't just be watching, you'll feel seen. You'll get a new story every week that might just make you feel a little less alone. And if you stick around, I'll tell you what I learned the hard way, so maybe you don't have to. It was a Thursday night, and we were at the Olive Garden, not exactly fine dining, but it was my mom's birthday, and she loved their endless breadsticks more than she'd admit. My dad had ordered a bottle of cheap red wine, my brother Jake was making sarcastic comments about the menu, and I was halfway through a polite laugh when my phone buzzed in my lap. I glanced down casually, expecting it to be a reminder from work or maybe a group chat. But what I saw froze me. Leave now. Don't make a scene. No name. Just those 6 words. I felt my heart skip. My mouth went dry. My body went cold even though the restaurant was warm, almost too warm, the kind of stuffy heat that clings to your skin. I looked around the table. No one had noticed. My dad was in the middle of telling a story about some client who'd tried to sue a dog groomer. My mom was laughing. Jake was rolling his eyes. I excused myself silently, just stood up. My mom blinked, confused. Where are you? I'll be right back, I said quickly. And then I walked. Out the front door. Into the night air. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. My phone buzzed again before I'd even made it to my car. Keep walking. Get to the silver Toyota 2 blocks north. Doors unlocked. I'll explain. My legs were shaking. I could barely breathe. But something in me, some deep instinct, told me not to go back inside. Not yet. I turned right at the next intersection, heart pounding, eyes scanning the quiet street. There it was. A silver Toyota, parked halfway under a street lamp. I hesitated, just for a second, then yanked the passenger door open. Inside was Maya. My best friend from college. Or rather, my ex-best friend. We hadn't spoken in over 2 years. Not since the night she told me she never wanted to see me again. She looked different. Older. Tired. Her hair was darker, chopped short. But her eyes were still that same stormy gray that always saw through me. You got my message, she said, as if this was normal. What the hell is going on? I demanded, my voice trembling. Maya pulled away from the curb. I don't have time to explain everything now. But if you'd stayed in there tonight, you would have regretted it for the rest of your life. My hands gripped the edge of the seat. Maya, what are you talking about? That's my family. What the hell is this? She didn't look at me. Just kept driving. And then she said something I'll never forget. They're not who you think they are, Em. And if you go back tonight, they'll make sure you never find out the truth. The silence in Maya's car was suffocating. The kind of silence that carries weight, like every second passing was a loaded gun. My hands were still trembling, fingers clenched in my lap. I didn't dare speak first. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but something about her face stopped me. We were maybe 10 minutes away from the restaurant, winding through dark residential streets lined with parked cars and closed blinds. Everyone else was home, safe, unsuspecting. I felt like I'd been dragged into a movie I didn't audition for. Maya finally spoke, her voice low. I'm sorry I had to do it like this. But I didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice? I snapped. You disappear for 2 years, and then out of nowhere you send me some anonymous text, pull me out of dinner with my family, and tell me they're not who I think they are? Do you even hear how insane that sounds? I know, she said. I know how it sounds. But you have to trust me. You lost the right to ask for my trust a long time ago. She winced. I saw it. And for a split second, she looked like the Maya I used to know, the one who stayed up all night helping me study for finals, who once drove 5 hours to pick me up after a terrible date in college, who knew every secret I ever had. But this Maya was hiding something. And I needed to know what. You said I would have regretted staying at dinner, I said quietly. Why? She glanced at me, then back at the road. Because they were going to confront you tonight. About something you've been asking too many questions about. What are you even talking about? Maya pulled the car into an empty parking lot near an abandoned supermarket and cut the engine. For a moment, we sat there in the dark, lit only by the dashboard lights. Then she opened the glove compartment. Inside was a manila envelope, thick and slightly torn at the edges. She handed it to me without a word. I opened it slowly, my fingers stiff. Inside were photographs, printed emails, and copies of documents I didn't immediately recognize. But the first photo stopped me cold. It was my father. Sitting at a table in a diner. Across from a woman I had never seen before. And a little girl who looked like me. Or at least, like I had at that age. The hair. The eyes. Even the way she held her hands in her lap. What is this? I whispered. That's Kara, Maya said. She's 7. I felt my stomach drop. What the hell are you saying? I'm saying she's your sister. And your dad has been keeping her, and her mother, a secret for almost a decade. I laughed. I didn't mean to. It came out sharp and panicked, the kind of laugh that feels more like choking. That's not possible. My dad, he wouldn't. But I was already flipping through the rest of the documents. Bank transfers. A copy of a birth certificate. Emails between my father and a woman named Rachel Pierce. One of them dated just 3 weeks ago. He was paying for a private school. Sending money monthly. There was even a photo of him at what looked like a birthday party, balloons, a cake, him holding the little girl on his hip. No, I whispered. This has to be some mistake. This is fake. Maya shook her head. I thought the same thing at first. But it's not. I've been watching him for months, Em. After what happened between us, I started digging. I found things I wish I hadn't. And I realized, he's not the man you think he is. My brain was spinning. I couldn't focus. I was trying to piece together something that didn't fit. My dad. The man who coached Jake's Little League team. Who woke up early every Sunday to make pancakes. Who taught me how to parallel park. That man couldn't have a secret family. Except maybe, he could. And then it hit me. You said they were going to confront me, I said slowly. Confront me about what? Maya hesitated. They think you found out. About Kara. About Rachel. About what he's been hiding. And they were going to shut you down before you started asking more questions. I looked at her. Really looked at her. How do you know all this? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she pulled something else from the glove compartment. A voice recorder. She clicked play. And I heard my father's voice. The sound of my father's voice filled the car, and my whole body went rigid. It was unmistakably him, steady, measured, the same tone he used when talking to clients or negotiating over the phone in our living room. Only now, that voice felt foreign. Like it belonged to a stranger who had stolen my father's face. We need to keep this quiet. Emily's getting suspicious. She asked about that charge on the credit card last week, Rachel's gym membership. I told her it was fraud, but she looked at me like she knew. There was a pause. My breath caught in my throat. I need you to make sure nothing else slips. If she starts digging, if she figures it out, she could blow up everything. Another voice, one I didn't recognize, low, male, maybe older. You want me to talk to her? No. Not yet. Just watch her. And if she gets too close, we'll handle it. Click. Silence. I sat there, staring at the dashboard, heart pounding in my ears. I couldn't move. Couldn't think. Handle it, I said numbly. He said, handle it. Maya nodded, her eyes soft. I know. I heard it too. No, you don't understand, I said, voice rising. That's not just some stranger. That's my dad. That's the man who raised me. Who packed my lunch every day in middle school. Who helped me with my science fair project. He can't. I shook my head violently, as if that could make it go away. This doesn't make sense. I know, Maya said again, gently. But you need to hear the rest. She played another clip. Jake's in the dark. He wouldn't handle it well. But Emily, she's always been stubborn. Curious. If she pushes, we'll have to act fast. This time, I felt something hot rise in my chest, rage, confusion, grief. A toxic blend that made my hands shake and my throat tighten. He was talking about me like I was a threat. Like I wasn't his daughter. Like I was an obstacle. I need to go, I said, my voice hollow. Emily. I need to see him. I need to look him in the eye and ask him what the hell is going on. Maya touched my arm. If you go back tonight, he'll know someone warned you. He'll cover his tracks. You'll never get the truth. I don't care, I snapped. I can't sit here listening to this and do nothing. I need answers. She didn't argue. She just handed me the envelope. Take this. And Emily, don't go alone. I drove back to my apartment in a daze. Portland city lights blurred through my windshield as tears I didn't even feel slid down my face. I didn't call anyone. I didn't respond to the dozen missed texts from my mom or Jake. I just sat on my couch, in the dark, the envelope beside me like a ticking bomb. The next morning, I called out of work. I didn't even have the energy to lie about being sick. By noon, I was standing on my parents' porch. My mom answered the door, her expression tight. Where did you go last night? I had to leave, I said calmly. Can we talk? She stepped aside. Your father's in his office. I walked down the hallway I knew by heart, the family photos on the walls, the faint smell of lemon cleaner, the soft hum of the dishwasher in the background. He looked up when I entered. Emily. I held up the envelope. I know about Rachel. I know about Kara. His face didn't change. Not really. There was a flicker, but it passed so fast I almost missed it. Where did you get that? That's your first question? He closed his laptop slowly. Sit down. I'd rather stand. Emily, he said, and for a moment, I heard the father I remembered. The one who used to read me bedtime stories. There's more to this than you understand. Then explain it. He sighed, rubbing his temples. It was a mistake. One I've been trying to fix quietly for years. Your mother knows. Jake doesn't. And I was hoping you wouldn't. That's not a mistake, I said, voice trembling. That's a life. A child. And you were going to handle me? What does that even mean? His eyes narrowed slightly. You've been talking to someone. I didn't respond. He stood, walked to the door, and closed it. And then he said something that made my blood run cold. Maya has always been a liability. I should have dealt with her when I had the chance. The door clicked shut behind him with a sound that felt final. I froze. His words echoed in the silence between us. I should have dealt with her when I had the chance. For a moment, I didn't know who I was looking at. This wasn't my father, not the man who built dollhouses in the garage for my birthdays, who sat in the bleachers for every high school graduation speech he'd already heard 100 times. This was someone colder. Calculating. Capable of hiding entire lives behind a polite smile. He took a step toward me. "I'm not here to fight, Emily," he said, his voice low, smooth. "You're upset. I understand that. But I need you to listen before you do something reckless." I didn't move. "You threatened Maya." He raised an eyebrow. "You have no idea what she's involved in. She's trying to protect me." "No," he said sharply. "She's using you. She always has. You don't know what she did, what she cost us." "Then tell me," I snapped. "Because all I know is that she risked everything to warn me. While you—" "Everything I've done has been to protect this family," he interrupted. "Including you." That word, protect, landed like a slap. It sounded so twisted in his mouth. "And Kara?" I asked, voice trembling. "Was she part of the family you were protecting too? Or just the one you decided to forget?" His jaw tightened. "That's none of your concern. She's my sister. She's a mistake." The words hit me harder than I expected. I felt it like a physical blow, his ability to reduce a child, his own child, to a misstep. A side effect of his double life. "I don't even know who you are anymore," I whispered. He stepped closer. "Then let me remind you." That's when the door opened behind me, and my mom walked in. She looked from him to me, her eyes wide. "What's going on?" "She knows," he said calmly. "About Rachel. About the girl." My mom went still. And in that stillness everything shifted. I turned to her. "You knew?" Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Then, finally, yes. I took a step back, dizzy. "How long?" "A long time," she said quietly. I stared at her. "The woman who raised me. Who taught me to be honest. Who used to cry during church hymns and once told me no secret was ever worth carrying alone." "You lied to me," I said. "I didn't lie. She shook her head, looking suddenly so tired. "I didn't tell you. Because I knew it would hurt you. And I didn't want you to hate him." Too late. I felt something inside me splinter. A bond. A belief. Whatever fragile thread had been holding my understanding of our family together, it snapped. "And Jake?" I asked. "Does he know?" "No," she said. "And he can't. He's not like you." I almost laughed. "What does that mean?" "It means you ask questions," she said. "You dig. Jake, he doesn't. And that's what keeps him safe." Safe. That word again. Safe from what? From the truth? Or from them? That night, I didn't go home. I checked into a cheap motel off I-84, too afraid to be alone in my apartment. I stared at the ceiling for hours, trying to make sense of what had happened. At 3 a.m., Maya texted. "Are you okay?" I didn't answer right away. I just stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Then I typed. "They knew you recorded them." Her reply came fast. "I figured. That's why I didn't give you the originals." "What else do you have?" Another pause. Then. "Enough to finish what I started. But you need to decide if you're in this for real." I stared at the message. Then typed. "I'm in." The next morning, Maya picked me up in the same silver Toyota. She drove in silence until we were out of the city, past the suburbs, into the woods northeast of town. Finally, she spoke. "There's something else you need to see." She pulled off onto a gravel road, past a rusted gate, into the driveway of a small, isolated cabin. It looked abandoned, peeling paint, broken fence, weeds everywhere. Whose place is this? She turned to me, face grim. It was Rachel's. We stepped inside. And that's where I saw the photos. Dozens of them. On the walls. On the floor. In shoeboxes stacked in corners. Photos of my father. Photos of Kara. And photos of me. The photos were everywhere. Me, age 12, in a school play, wearing the blue dress my mom sewed by hand. Me at prom. Me at my college graduation, standing next to Jake. Some of these, even I didn't remember being taken. And Kara. So many photos of her, sleeping in her car seat, blowing out candles, laughing in a park. In almost every one, she was with Rachel. And in a few, with my father. He wasn't hiding in those moments. He was smiling. Relaxed. Holding Kara's hand like he had every right to be there. But what hit me hardest weren't the pictures of them, it was the pictures of me. Taken from a distance. From behind a bush. Through windows. Photos I never knew existed. I turned to Maya, my mouth dry. What is this? I found this place after Rachel disappeared. I blinked. Disappeared? Maya nodded slowly. 3 months ago. No word. No trace. Her landlord said she packed up in the middle of the night with the kid and vanished. But everything here, it was left behind. Something heavy settled in my chest. You think my father? I don't know, she said. But he knew where she was. He was still sending money. Then suddenly, she goes silent. No forwarding address. And this place, abandoned. My heart was racing. If he hurt her, if he did something to her or Kara. Maya looked at me. Then we have to find them before he does it again. I stared at the photos, at the chaos of someone else's life wrapped around mine. Rachel had known about me. She'd watched me. Maybe even wanted to warn me. But instead, she disappeared. And left this behind. A secret shrine of a life I never asked to be part of. Over the next week, Maya and I built a case. We scanned every document in the envelope, added the photos, the audio files, the bank statements, the emails, everything. We set up a cloud folder with backups, gave access to a lawyer Maya trusted from a whistleblower case years ago. She was careful. Paranoid. And for the first time I understood why. It wasn't just about exposing my father. It was about staying alive long enough to do it. The turning point came when I confronted my mom again, this time in private. I met her at a park near her church, a place we used to go when I was little. She looked thinner. Exhausted. Her hands shook when she held her coffee cup. Emily, she said, like she hadn't slept since the last time we spoke. Please don't do this. Do what? I asked, calm but cold. Tell the truth? You don't understand what you're unraveling. I think I do. She looked at me then, really looked at me. Her eyes filled with something between fear and regret. I should have left him, she whispered. Years ago. When I found out about Rachel. About the child. But I didn't. Because I was scared. Because he said if I left, he'd take Jake. That no one would believe me. I felt my throat close. Mom. I kept the secret because I thought I was protecting you. But I was just enabling him. Tears spilled from her eyes. And in that moment, I saw her not as the mother who lied, but as a woman who had been trapped. Who had made choices from a place of fear, not malice. I need to do this, I said. For Kara. For Rachel. For myself. She nodded slowly. Then let me help you. The morning the story broke, I was already gone. Maya and I left the city at 5 a.m., after sending the file to every news outlet we could trust. My name was on it. My face. My voice. I told everything. About my father's secret family. About the cover-up. About the threats. I didn't hold anything back. By noon, it was everywhere. And by 2 p.m., my father was arrested. I didn't watch the press conference. I didn't need to. Instead, I was sitting in a diner 2 towns over, watching Kara from the window. She was safe, Rachel too. They'd fled when things started getting strange. When Rachel saw a man watching her car, she trusted her instincts and ran. Maya eventually found them through an old friend of Rachel's in Spokane. We didn't tell anyone yet. Not the media. Not even my mom. Some truths needed space before they became stories. When I finally stepped outside and walked toward Kara, she looked up at me with big, curious eyes. She didn't know who I was yet. Not really. But she smiled. And I smiled back. If you followed my story all the way to the end, thank you. This wasn't just about exposing a lie. It was about reclaiming my life from the shadows it was built in. If you've ever had to make a choice between silence and truth, between comfort and integrity, then maybe you understand me better than I expected. And if you haven't yet, stick around. There are more stories like mine. And maybe, just maybe, one of them will help you find your voice too. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Not just to follow my story, but to find the courage in yours.